Got one. That's not bad. What is that? Welcome back, everybody. So one of the worst things with ice fishing is just how short the days are in winter. It can be really difficult to get out to the ice, especially if on the weekend you have really bad weather. But you just have to make the best of it. So one of my favorite things to do is to go ice fishing at night. It can be kind of hit and miss, but last year my biggest pike I pulled through the ice was actually at night. Typically you have a lot less pressure, so it's actually one of my favorite ways to ice fish. But yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight. We got our first ice trip of the season at night. We're fishing for basically anything under the sun. So under the moon, I guess. So we have shiners or suckers. I do have a tip up out in case we do come across a big pike. And then I do have crappie minnows, and I'll be fishing with waxworms per usual too. So we're fishing for anything that'll bite. Let's get after it. You gonna eat? Oh, he touched it. Oh, I don't know if that was a crappie, but he barely touched it. Didn't look too bad of size either. Got one. That's not bad. What is that? We had to work for this fish. Oh, no! That was a good one. That was a good one. I don't know what that was, but it was... I don't know. It just came undone. Oh, we haven't had many bites and haven't seen many fish, but I don't know if that was a catfish or a bullhead. It looked long. I don't know if it was a pike, but I've got a minnow down there and it didn't bite, so. Oh, and it was halfway through the water column, so probably unlikely to be a catfish or a bullhead or anything else like that. We don't have walleye here, so walleye shouldn't be biting on a waxworm either, but that was the fish we were looking for. See if we can't get lucky with one or two more before we end up heading out. Well, that's it for today. Extremely short video because we only had a couple bites. We did have a really good bite, and I have no idea what that was. If it was a pike, it was, you know, a relatively small one, medium-sized one. But if that was anything besides a small pike, that was the biggest thing that we had bite all ice season. So that was kind of unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. I guess it goes to show you that you can most certainly get good bites at night, but wish we would have got it topside. Like I said before, the biggest pike that I caught through the ice last year was at night, and I think the biggest crappie I caught during ice season was also at night. So some lakes really don't have a great night bite, and a lot of that depends on the species that are in that lake, but sometimes it doesn't really matter. They just, for whatever reason, don't bite well. So it's something you kind of have to play out with your own lake and test out and see if, you know, your lake does do well at night. As far as gear goes, you don't really need much different at night. The one thing I would recommend is a good headlamp. It makes everything so much easier, especially leaving at the end of the day, packing up. A great headlamp is wonderful as far as that goes. Help you get back to your vehicle a lot quicker and safer. As far as the shanty goes, I've got the Nanuk XT Thermal Ice Team Edition that has lights built into the braces, or into the frame. So that is phenomenal. I love that. That was one of the big reasons that I got this version. But my previous shanty I just had additional light bars that you could attach to the frame, and that did really, really well too. So plenty of options out there as far as that goes. But anything that you can do to make, tying your knots and all that stuff a little bit easier is really, really nice. I would recommend not trying to use as much light, because sometimes fish do get finicky in the dark. So typically I'll kind of have my lights pretty dim initially until I end up hooking up with a fish, and then I'll turn them on. But sometimes they do get skittish with that. As far as tip-ups go, there's so many different types of technology out there for tip-ups at night. You can buy lights for them. They have Bluetooth that'll send a notification to your phone that you have a bite, all sorts of stuff like that. I go with the most rudimentary thing, the most simple, and that is just a bell. It's done pretty well for me. I haven't really missed too many because of that, and then typically it does a pretty good job of letting you know. The only time that it doesn't do great is if it's real cold or windy or snowy, and that flag isn't able to pop up with a ton of force, so the bell doesn't really ring. But for the most part, it's always done really, really well for me. Hopefully next time we go out, it should be better. Typically, for me at least, the longer it gets into the season, the better the night bite gets, because obviously you slowly start to increase a little bit more daylight. So hopefully it gets better, but can't be much worse. Hopefully we get some more big bites. And this, I really, really hope this is the last video that we have that we don't bring a fish topside. Really wish we would have caught that bite that we had, but that's fishing. As always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, hopefully with actual fish, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till the next one.